Hey, everybody, and welcome to Article 5 for Beginners. We're on episode 4 today. If you have not caught episodes 1, 2, and 3, and you are not familiar with Convention of States or Article 5 of our Constitution at all, I would highly recommend you go back and check them out. We'll put a playlist at the end of this video so that you can go ahead and check that out when this is done, or you can jump to our channel now and go catch it before you catch this one. All right, so today we're going to get into term limits, get into some of the reasons why we need term limits, really just break down two particular points that you may have heard out there, and then kind of give you the reasons why it's necessary. So before we go ahead and jump in, I do want to make sure that everyone goes ahead and clicks the subscribe button. Make sure you smash that like button and click that bell, all right? So this way you'll get alerts when you'll know when the next episode comes out, that you can go ahead and follow along with us. We are trying to get to 1,000 subscribers. That is our first goal. And with that goal, we are almost there. We're at well over 650 right now. So please make sure you smash that subscribe button and get on board with the Patriot think tank. Let's get into term limits now. So as we jump in, I want to just say this. You've heard from many people that we don't need term limits because, well, we have elections, right? So there's an important distinction to be made here by what the resolutions are calling for when they say they want to discuss term limits. What they're calling for is term limits for all federal officials, not just Congress, okay? So the reason why is term limits are needed for all federal officials. And I'm actually hoping that they get that creepy guy that's in the DOD somewhere or somewhere in the military industrial complex that no one knows about, but we all know, no one knows who he is, but we all know that he exists. You know, the guy who writes the black budgets, the guy who actually puts the information in there that our congressmen sign off on without knowing what the hell's in there. You know, the guy who tells the president of the United States you can't go check out Area 51 because you need plausible deniability. Yeah, that guy. I really hope they get him. But really what I'm going to talk about today is the SCOTUS, okay? And let me just get into, when it comes to Supreme Court of the United States, no one really thinks of them when they think term limits, but this is a group that really does need term limits, all right? Being in for life, I mean, I get it. There was no real reason to put him in for life. I understand, you know, that the founders were kind of willy-nilly with it, but the reality of the matter is there's no compromising a judge for putting term limits on him. He doesn't need to be there until death, which they literally stay there until death. I mean, Ruth Bader Ginsburg, she could have just any moment on the bench, she could have just keeled over. Let's face it. I mean, this woman, she's older than dirt. She's in there. I don't care if you like her or you don't like her. We don't need people in that condition sitting on the bench. We just don't. Okay. Kennedy was no different. All right. These people need to come in like everybody else, serve their time, and be out. Now, I've heard some good suggestions that once they finish their terms, that they can be on deck. So if we're short a justice, you know, and we don't have to end up with all these split decisions, that we can have a previous justice step up. And that's a good idea. That's a creative idea. But we also need to address the number of justices that there are and have a finite number that cannot be tinkered with by a president on partisan basis, right? So we've got Biden saying, I might stack the court. I'm considering stacking the court. That should be impossible. Now, this was never addressed in the original Constitution, so it's time we, the people, address this. There needs to be a finite number. Now, a great suggestion I heard was to look at having each state appoint a judge, which is excellent because it stops the whole process of, you know, I need to stay alive long enough for another president to come in. Like, no, get out, finish a term, get out. You know, the state's going to appoint anyway, so that it doesn't matter what president comes in and is going to appoint judges, right? So I thought that was a good idea, something that they should discuss. But the point of the matter is, you know, 8, 10, 12-year terms, pick your number. But you can't have 85, 90-year-old justices on the bench. They're still valuable. They can still be looked to as counsel from current justices, but we need some circulation there as well. And I think that this is a good way to go about doing it. Now, as far as our elected officials are concerned, that's another story. So here we have our elected officials. Now, people will say to you, why would you want to take away someone's ability to elect who they want to elect? And that's a good question. It's a good point to make. However, there is a reason why we would want to do that in this situation, and it's not that we want to take their ability away to elect. It's we don't want one individual being into office in any state and any under any circumstances for 36, right, 40, 29. It's just too long. It's just too long, and here's why. Here's what happens, and this is a human nature thing. It's not something that you can just pick the right person and it won't happen to them. It's a human nature thing. All right. The vast majority of individuals that go into office are going to gather and gain power, networking, lobby power. They're going to be exchanging favors. The larger the network that they grow, the more tricks that they create, the more dubious stuff goes on. And this is demonstrated regularly. Okay, so it's not like it's just some fear that's out there. I'm going to pose to you an example of why one district or one state electing the same person over and over and over again can negatively impact other states. And it's not a very hard one to comprehend. Most of you understand people like Mitch McConnell, people like Schumer, Nancy Pelosi, all three of which are up on the board here. These are incredibly powerful people in the House and Senate. All right, and their powers go far beyond. In Nancy Pelosi's case, we're talking about 700,000 people or so in her district. So in San Francisco. So Nancy Pelosi's case, her powers go far beyond representing 700,000 people. And those people, while they may like the idea of Nancy Pelosi and they may really like her and they may want to keep putting her in, that's all well and good. But let me give you the scenario. So you take a smaller state, not even a smaller state, take another large state. Let's take a state like New York, right? And okay, so now we have New York. Since we're dealing with Pelosi, we'll keep it left to left. And now the people in New York, let's say they elect a new senator or a new House rep in this case. So they elect this new House rep, and they're all fired up about this House rep. This House rep goes in, and they've got all kinds of good ideas, and they've got a history of doing what they said they were going to do, and people really like them, and they get in. They get elected. Everyone's fired up. They head down to Washington, only to find out that if they don't do exactly what Nancy Pelosi wants them to, they're never going to get anything done for their constituents. All right. This is not how things should be. All right. Now, there's no innate power that Nancy Pelosi has to implement such things or to thwart someone else. But it's all done through favor. It's all done through connection. It's all done in ways that are not outlined in our Constitution. I don't think that this is a hard concept for people to grasp. You can take it to the right and say, maybe Arizona elects a new senator, and now that senator is beholden to Mitch McConnell. And if they don't, if these new senators and House reps do not comply or play the game, then they will never make it to a committee of any meeting. They'll never be invited to the different meetings that go on. They won't be, if they have legislation, it'll never get voted on. This is the type of stuff that goes on. All right. And now the good people of New York, or let's say Arizona, in those two examples, well, they've put their people in, and their people are now rendered useless because of the will of a small district, fairly large district in San Francisco, or a fairly small state in Kentucky. So it no longer matters that Kentuckians want to vote for Mitch McConnell over and over. The people who Mitch McConnell is negatively affecting cannot vote him out. They're dependent on the people of Kentucky to do so. Now, by having term limits in, nobody amasses that kind of power. The position goes back to being what it's designed to be, and that's a service. Okay, public service. That's what this is. It seems weird now because we've had all these politicians in forever, but the reality of the matter is they shouldn't be. They shouldn't be. And this was understood with FDR, and we amended to make sure that we fixed it. It's no different with Congress. Why you would want presidents to be two-term and not want Congress to be two-term makes no sense to me. It just makes no sense to me. Okay. So in the end, those are the cases, right? Those are two of the cases. I assure you, if Mark Meckler were here, he'd probably get on with 4 or 5 more. But I'm trying to keep this video curt and to the point. So we're going to stop at those two. If there are more reasons that you want to share, please, by all means, leave them in the comments. If there are questions that you may have, or something you think is wrong and you want to make your point, leave it in the comments. We engage. We definitely don't mind the back and forth. That's what it's all about. This is an educational process. That's what we're here for. But that's the breakdown on term limits. Stay tuned for episode 5. We'll be covering the fiscal restraints. These are a little more fun and get into some of the things that you might see. Maybe talk a little bit about the mock convention that was held, and then give you an idea of what the convention, what the delegates would be discussing, and the types of things that would be within their parameters for that conversation. All right. So until then, don't forget to hit the subscribe button, smash that like button, and make sure you hit that bell so you get alerts when the new episodes come out. You'll get alerts when we put up any other content. We appreciate everything everyone has done. We're on our way to 1,000 subscribers. We're at 650 or so at the time that this is being done. So we look forward to hitting that goal. We look forward to your help. Thank you. And I'm out.
And like that,